Okay, here's a problem applying what we've learned about adding coplanar forces in using Cartesian coordinates. Okay, so I've got two forces here, FA and FB, and I want to find the resultant of those two added together. Okay, so FA is 700, angle of 30, FB is 600 with an angle of 20. So what we're going to start with is summing up in the x direction. Okay. So in the x direction, I have FA here. The x direction, if I think about it, the triangle going right along here, okay? The x, the horizontal component, is opposite of the 30, so I'm going to use sine 30. So it'll be 700 sine 30, and that's positive because it's going to the right, okay, where x is positive. FB is going to the left, so it gets a negative sign, okay? And the horizontal is actually adjacent to this angle theta. Okay, so I'm going to use cosine for the horizontal component in the x direction. So that'll be 600 cosine 20. Okay, plugging that into your calculator, adding it up, I get negative 213.8. So that's acting to the left at about 214 newtons. In the y direction, okay, this time on FA, the vertical, which is the y direction, is adjacent to the 30. So I'm going to use cosine for the adjacent to 30. So it'll be 700 cosine 30. Let's put it right here. For FB, the vertical on the triangle is over here, okay, which is opposite. So I'm going to use sine. So that'll be 600 sine of 20 degrees. Adding those two up, okay, I get 811 newtons moving upward. So what that looks like on a graph is right here. So I have 811 straight up and 214 to the left in the negative x direction. So my resultant force is the combination of those two vectors in the x and y direction. Okay? So it looks like this. Okay. It's asking for the magnitude and the orientation, so I need to know the length of this and that angle theta that we have defined there. Okay, so to find the length of that vector, I just use Pythagorean theorem, which is the square root of the sum of the squares. So square root of 214 squared plus 811 squared equals that. And again, the negative gets dropped because I'm squaring it anyway. A negative times a negative gives me a positive. So I just use the magnitudes. I just drop my negative here. So that's where that comes from. And I get a magnitude. The length of this side then is 839. This angle is going to be the inverse tangent of x over y. So that 213 over 811. Okay, and again, I have the angle defined from the vertical. It would be different if it was defined from the horizontal, but this is the angle that we're looking for here. So from the vertical, okay, it is the inverse tangent of opposite over adjacent. So 214 over 811 giving 14.8 degrees.